This story, presented as a historical account, is a work of fiction. While it draws on themes of colonialism, exploitation, and political resistance, the specific events, individuals, and outcomes described did not happen. There is no public record of a mass arrest of foreign mining CEOs in Burkina Faso, nor of a subsequent international trial and redistribution of wealth on the scale described. The figures mentioned, such as Victor Pro of Goldmax Corporation, Jean-Claude Du Bois of Canadian Western Gold Mining, and Michael Thompson of Pacific Resources, are not real people or companies. In reality, Ibrahim Traoré, the transitional president of Burkina Faso, came to power through a coup d'état in September 2022. His government has focused on security issues and has suspended political parties and the Constitution. While his political rhetoric has often been critical of Western influence, particularly that of France, the events depicted in this article are not factual. It is important to distinguish between real-world events and fictional narratives, even those that appear to be based on current affairs. The Grand Heist, a continent stripped bare money bag. For decades, a silent but devastating crime unfolded across the African continent. At the heart of this deception was a system of exploitation so ingrained that it seemed unbreakable. French President Emmanuel Macron's dismissive remarks about Africa only highlighted a widespread attitude of contempt and indifference. In the eyes of many Western powers, Africa's vast riches were not the birthright of its people, but commodities to be taken, and its citizens were merely invisible pawns in a global game of plunder. This centuries-old machine of quiet theft, running unchecked for over half a century, siphoned billions in resources out of the continent, leaving behind only poverty and desolation. The modus operandi was simple yet ingenious. Powerful foreign mining corporations would extract immense wealth, primarily gold, while deliberately underreporting their yields to avoid paying fair taxes. Their sophisticated network of deceit included fake invoices, inflated expense reports, and offshore accounts, all designed to funnel staggering profits away from the host nations and into the pockets of a select few. The price of this greed was paid by the African people, who endured crushing poverty, forced displacement, and the destruction of their ancestral lands. Entire communities were bulldozed, and rivers were poisoned with toxic waste, while the very children of these lands were forced into perilous child labor. This was the quiet, systematic war waged by these corporate empires, all while their CEOs enjoyed a life of opulence and impunity. The takedown, a masterstroke of justice balance scale. Everything changed on the morning of August 10th. In a swift, surgical, and unprecedented operation, the so-called untouchable kings of billion-dollar empires fell. Elite special forces, acting on the orders of Burkina Faso's fearless leader, Ibrahim Traoré, swept through 7 luxury hotels in Ouagadougou. Within minutes, some of the most powerful figures in the mining world, including Victor Pro of Goldmax Corporation, Jean-Claude Du Bois of Canadian Western Gold Mining, and Michael Thompson of Pacific Resources, were arrested. They were taken from their 5-star suites, handcuffed and silent, their empires crumbling around them. This wasn't chaos. It was a masterstroke of meticulous planning and flawless execution. For months, Traoré had secretly assembled a task force of legal experts and financial analysts. They conducted a full audit of every foreign mining operation, planting informants, and using drones and satellite data to uncover the truth. What they found was staggering. In just over 60 years, these companies had extracted over $600 billion worth of gold, yet only a fraction of that ever reached the national treasury. The rest, a staggering $580 billion, had vanished. Companies were underreporting production by as much as 80%, with 9 out of every 10 ounces of gold being smuggled out of the country. With this ironclad evidence, Traoré didn't just plan arrests. He initiated a legal time bomb. He froze every bank account linked to these companies, seized their local assets, and, most importantly, placed the nation's entire gold reserve under full state control, returning ownership of the precious metal to the people of Burkina Faso. The reckoning. Consequences in a new dawn sunrise. The arrests and asset seizures were just the beginning. The world watched in disbelief as justice took center stage in a special, independent court in Burkina Faso, free from Western influence and corporate lobbyists. The trials were a brutal exposé of corporate depravity. Prosecutors read out long lists of charges, from tax evasion and bribery to crimes against humanity, including forced displacement and child labor. The victims themselves took the stand, sharing heart-wrenching stories of lost childhoods, destroyed communities, and poisoned land. Leaked internal emails from the seized laptops revealed the contempt these executives held for the African people, whom they referred to as stupid natives and disposable. The truth was laid bare for all to see. The verdicts were swift and decisive. Every single executive was found guilty. The sentences were severe: decades in prison, multi-billion-dollar fines, and for the worst offenders, life imprisonment. In a stunning final twist, the court ordered that all seized assets, yachts, mansions, private jets, and offshore accounts be liquidated, with every cent going directly to the victims' families, not the government. This was justice delivered not on paper, but in the lives of those who had suffered. The old order, built on stolen wealth and quiet violence, had finally been shattered. The rise of a continent, a new era of sovereignty, globe-showing Europe-Africa. The impact of this historic victory rippled across the continent. This wasn't just about Burkina Faso. It was a beacon of hope for all of Africa. Other nations like Mali, Guinea, and Niger followed suit, tearing up corrupt mining deals and nationalizing their own resources. Western mining stocks crashed, and once dominant corporations like Goldmax were left in ruins. Back home, the change was instantaneous. Traoré's government launched the Burkina Faso National Mining Company, a state-owned powerhouse to manage the nation's gold for the benefit of its people. 50% of all revenue was immediately allocated to social projects: schools, hospitals, roads, and clean water. Worker salaries skyrocketed, child labor was banned, and safety standards became world-class. The statistics told a powerful story of a nation reborn: a 300% national income growth, hundreds of new schools and hospitals, and millions gaining access to clean water and electricity for the first time. Education became a priority, with technical universities offering free scholarships to train the next generation of engineers and geologists. Children, once toiling in dark mines, now held books in their hands.
Something out of the
The
ordinary.
people no longer stood
A long,
on the sidelines.
slow-moving
They
convoy
were
of
the
trucks
authors of
traveling
their
at
own
4 a.m.
destiny.
in an area
As the
that is
sun
usually
set on
quiet
the
at
era
that time.
of exploitation,
The convoy's
a
size
new
and
dawn
strange
rose
timing
for a
immediately
sovereign,
raised a red flag.
prosperous,
Captain
and
Musa
awakened
Kabor,
Africa.